Well, I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving, but now it's time to get back to football, right? Today's card is front-loaded. The majority of the games on the early afternoon slate, just one game on the night card, and that's the equivalent of a high school game, I think, being Central Florida and South Florida. Like, who the hell cares about that particular contest, right? You'll have to excuse all the banging here. They're putting Christmas lights on my roof at the moment, and they're right outside my window right now. Literally climbing in front of my window at this very moment. But we continue and march forward. In terms of who's hot here at the site, my God, is Steven D'Angelo on a red-hot roll, cashing in yesterday with another top-rated 50-dime release. I should say his biggest play of the season. That would be a 50-dime play since he joined at the site, cashing with the Buffalo Bills. Today, going for football winner number 14 out of 16, going for winning day number 18 out of 20, for winning day number 8 in a row. Again, the biggest play he's released since he joined the site in college football is another 50-dime release. It matches yesterday's on the Bills, Monday's on the Ravens, last Sunday's on the Seahawks. It's the game between Cincinnati and Memphis, and just like all the other plays, you're going to get it for over half price off by using coupon code 8ROW. That's the number 8 and the words ROW. You get it for over half price off. The guy has just been on an absolute roll. He and Mitch Newman, one of the other of the three guys that I added, Mitch Newman going for winning day number 9 out of 13. They have been godsends as I added them to the sites here in the past month, and they've just been on tremendous rolls, so props to both of them. Now, let's talk about that Memphis-Cincinnati game. Let me give you my take on this particular contest. I'm going to go with Memphis in this contest, laying the 12 points. The line has gone up from 11 to 12 points here from yesterday. I do like Memphis in this particular contest, laying the points here at home. The weather, it's not going to be great. It's probably going to be in the mid-40s. There is about a 15 to 20% chance of precipitation in this one. Now, here's what's at stake. Memphis wins this game, and Memphis will host the AAC championship game next week, when the Tigers would then once again play Cincinnati. If Cincinnati wins this game, Cincinnati would then take on Memphis next week and host the AAC championship game. So obviously a lot at stake for these two clubs. But I do like Memphis in this particular spot. Memphis has reeled off 5 straight wins since that controversial loss at Temple. Cincinnati, of course, has been on quite a roll itself here as both teams come into this contest 10-1. Cincinnati's only lost this season coming against Ohio State. But what I like here with Memphis is the way the offense has just been so consistently good all season long, averaging something like 42.2 points a game and almost 490 yards a game. The pass attack has been great, okay, with Brady White, 30 touchdown passes, over 33,000 yards on the year. But coming into the season, they were expecting Patrick Taylor to be their number one ground gainer. He hit his foot in the first game of the year. He returned 2 games ago. But in last week's win at South Florida, he got his first extensive game action, and he looked like the Patrick Taylor everybody expected him to be. Now remember, last year Patrick Taylor ran for over 1,100 yards and 16 touchdowns. Well, against South Florida last week on the road, 17 carries, 95 yards, 3 touchdowns. In just his second game back and his third game all season long. Now, Kenneth Gainwell had stepped in and become the featured back for Memphis this year and ran for almost 1,300 yards. So when you add a healthy now Patrick Taylor with Gainwell and Brady White, you give Memphis such a powerful offense. You give that offense another big weapon. Cincinnati's defense is damn good, don't get me wrong. Cincinnati's defense has been able to stop just about everybody this season. It's a damn good offense. Only team that couldn't stop really this year, well, 2 teams, Ohio State and, believe it or not, East Carolina. But Cincinnati of late has been playing up or down to the level of its competition. And the bigger problem that Cincinnati has is its quarterback has been plagued by some shoulder issues the past couple of weeks. And their quarterback the past 2 weeks, 18 for 43, 140 yards. And that offense simply has not been able to get the job done. So even though it's a big number, playing at home, I think that Memphis will be able to put distance in the second half of this game and will be able to pull away and secure somewhere in a 17-point area, secure the win and the cover, and go ahead and advance to the championship game and have the rematch next week. So I do like Memphis in this contest. The other big game in terms of a rivalry game today, you got Virginia Tech and Virginia for the Commonwealth Cup. Of course, this has been a one-sided series, as you know. Virginia Tech has won 15 consecutive games in this season. You've got two dynamic quarterbacks here. Hendon Hooker, 6-0 as a starter for Virginia Tech. In that stretch, he's completed nearly 63% of his passes, 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. 3 times he's been their leading rusher in that stretch. You know, this guy who you probably haven't seen, you probably haven't heard a lot about, but his efficiency rating this season is almost, well, it's a little over 179. He hasn't played enough games, but the only quarterback who has a higher efficiency rating this year in Division I ball would be Trevor Lawrence of Clemson. Now, Bryce Perkins, of course, has been dynamic all season and dynamite all season long for Virginia. And the last 3 games, after a little bit of a midseason swoon, he has really come on. 835 yards, 6 touchdowns, 69% completions, 248 yards rushing, and 4 more TDs. That's just in the last 3 games. But that's not unexpected because this guy is 16th in the nation in total offense. And you may remember in last year's game, which was a 34-31 overtime victory for Virginia Tech, Perkins was just scintillating, 259 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 112 yards rushing. Had a big fumble on a handoff, which came up to be turned out to be very costly for the Cavaliers. But this game is very interesting. Everybody thinks this is a great shot for Virginia to finally snap that 15-game losing streak. They're playing at home, and yet they're a 2.5-point underdog. Why? Because Virginia Tech comes into this game off consecutive shutouts against Georgia Tech and Pittsburgh. Hell, in that Pittsburgh game, they held the Panthers to 8 first downs and 177 total yards. Virginia Tech has won 6 of its last 7 games, the lone loss coming to Notre Dame. The only bad defensive performance in that 7-game stretch really came in a game against Duke, but they managed to win that game. This Virginia team played early in the season very strong. Has been inconsistent since then. Lost 2 key members of its secondary. I know the numbers point toward Virginia because you're saying the streak can't go on forever and Virginia's playing at home and they've got Perkins and they're playing in revenge. But I'll tell you what, I like Virginia Tech in this game. 2.5. If it goes to 3, I'm buying down the half point. I still like the Hokies because I can't go against that streak. Your other game goes on the noon card. It's a Mid-American Conference game. How many times do I win a Mid-American Conference game? Not often, I can tell you that. I'd lay the 29 points with Buffalo because do you feel confident taking the points with Bowling Green? Why would you? They've lost 7 games this season by at least 28 points. In their road games this season, they've lost by 52 to Kansas State. They've given up 52 points at Kansas State, 62 points at Kent State. They've given up 52 points in South Bend to Notre Dame. They've given up 40 points at Western Michigan, 44 points in their last road game at Miami of Ohio. Yeah. Does that give you any signs of encouragement that Bowling Green can stop Buffalo here? A Buffalo team that 9 days ago beat up Toledo at home 49-30. A Buffalo team that's won 4 of its last 5 games. Bowling Green is coming off its home finale. A home finale in which it lost 66-24 to Ohio. And in its previous road game, it lost 44-3 at Miami, Ohio. It has 3 wins this season. They all came at home. They beat Morgan State in their opener. They beat Akron. They beat Toledo. And I just told you how many points they gave up in all their road games. I just don't see a lot of reason not to lay the points with Buffalo. A Buffalo team that leads the MAC in total defense. A Buffalo team that leads the MAC in terms of rushing the ball in conference play, averaging 243 yards on the ground in MAC play. Bowling Green, I read one particular stat that in conference play on the road, they're giving up 6.6 yards per carry to opposing backs. And one other little tidbit, Buffalo in Mid-American Conference play at home has covered 13 of its last 14 games. So why the hell not lay the points with Buffalo in that early noontime kickoff Eastern time? So of the three plays, I like Memphis number 1. Believe it or not, I like Buffalo number 2, and Virginia Tech would be number 3. So go forth, bet those games, and I'll talk to you again on Saturday when we do this all over again. Good luck, everybody.